Good morning children. Vidya teacher here. Again back to your next session. Okay. In the last chapter you have studied about how history developed and the prehistoric period and what was the evolution of man from Stone Age, that is from the Paleolithic age till the Neolithic age. Okay. So now man has been developed. Now he knows what is civilization. He has come to know how man has to live for a betterment of his life and also for the others. So in your next chapter, you are going to study about civilizations. About which civilizations you are going to study? You are going to study about 6 civilizations. Okay? They are the Egyptian civilization, Mesopotamian civilization, Chinese civilization, Greek civilization, Roman civilization, and finally Harappan civilization. Okay, so shall we begin with the chapter? Okay. Food, water, air and light are inevitable for any life. That is, it is compulsory for everyone's life to survive. Similarly, shelter, clothing also are the basic necessities for mankind. Generally, you can get water, favorable weather condition on the banks of rivers. Where do you get the favorable conditions? You get the favorable conditions on the banks of the rivers, because there you can get water is sufficient, as well as atmosphere, the soil is good to cultivate. Now by now the Stone Age man, he had proceeded to agriculture. From the Neolithic age itself, man had learned about agriculture. So he started to cultivate. So what was the basic necessity for it? The basic necessity was water and good soil. So that was available on the banks of the river. Got it? Hence the river banks became the cradles of ancient civilization. What are cradles? Cradles andre tottala anta ಹೇಳ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ. So ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಮಗು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗೋದು, ಜನ್ಮನೇ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗೋದು cradle ಇಂದ. So this is the basic thing. So from the river banks, the civilization started. So they are called as the cradles of civilization. Egyptian civilization on the banks of Nile, Mesopotamian civilization on the banks of Euphrates and Tigris, Chinese civilization on the banks of Huanghe, Yangtze and Sikiang, and Harappan civilization on the banks of Indus came into existence. So this was how the civilization began on the banks of the river. Okay. Today in detail we will go about the Egyptian civilization. Okay. Now what is about Egypt? What do you know about Egypt? Okay. Today check your atlas and just spot it. Where is Egypt? Egypt is the first civilization. Okay, why is Egypt civilization very important? It is the first civilization. Egypt is the first civilization of the ancient world. This civilization took birth on the banks of the river. The Nile is regarded as the longest river in the world, and it is a major north-flowing river in Africa which joins the Mediterranean Sea. So which is the biggest river here? Nile of Africa. It is the biggest river, and Egyptian civilization started on the banks of river Nile. Okay? And it is told that if Nile river wouldn't be, then Egyptian civilization wouldn't be. So what it is called? Egypt is called, is considered as a gift of Nile. So why did Egypt civilization become popular, or how did the civilization start there? That is just because of river Nile. If Nile wouldn't have been, Egypt would have been a desert. So on this view, they have made it, called it as Egypt is called as the gift of Nile. Okay. Now in detail, we will study a few points about Egypt. So in Egypt, what are the important things you have to remember? Firstly, it was the first civilization which was 5,400 years ago. Okay? And next, coming to the political history of Egypt. Egypt witnessed the rise about 5,400 years ago. The kings of Egypt were called pharaohs. What were they called as? Pharaohs. P-H-A-R-A-O-H. Got it? So it's a very new word for you. They were called as pharaohs. Menes was the first pharaoh. His capital was Memphis. Okay, which was his capital? It was Memphis. Among all the pharaohs after Menes, Khufu, Amenhotep and Thutmose were prominent. They were the other famous kings. Now, the most important what reminds you when you speak about Egypt is the pyramid. I think most of you might have seen in what is that, National Geography, here and all, everywhere when you witness see a pyramid, it reminds you about Egypt. So what are these pyramids? Pyramids are wonderful structures where these are built by the slaves of Egypt. So it's a beautiful structure. It is somehow like this. Now I cannot draw very beautiful pyramid, but I think you can do it more better than me. Got it? Pyramid, and the most famous pyramid is the Giza pyramid. Now the largest pyramid of Giza is called the Great Pyramid of Khufu, which was built by Khufu. Which king? It was built by Khufu king. Amenhotep expanded his kingdom and established an empire by his conquest. Thutmose I was the greatest conqueror among all the later pharaohs. His daughter Hatshepsut. What is it? These names are very new to us, right? So who was his daughter? His daughter was Hatshepsut, came to power after him and came to be known as the first empress of the world. Who is the empress? Maharani Queen. Emperor, empress. Masculine gender of is emperor and feminine gender of emperor is empress. She was the first empress of the world. Finally, about 2,300 years ago, Alexander the Great conquered Egypt. He appointed his military general Ptolemy as his representative. He appointed Ptolemy. Later, Ptolemy declared himself the king of Egypt and established the Ptolemaic dynasty. The popular queen Cleopatra, one new name, or what is it? It is Queen Cleopatra. She was the last queen. The popular Queen Cleopatra was the last ruler of this dynasty. Eventually, Egypt became a province of Rome. So, as per when you go to higher classes, you will study how Egypt became a part of Rome. Okay, now this was captured and was the last empress here. She was Cleopatra. Okay, now coming to the contributions of Egyptian civilization. Wheat and barley were the food crops of the people of Egypt. The water of Nile was used for agriculture through canals. Canal system was there during the very first civilization. So see, so much they had advanced by then. The water of Nile is used for agriculture through canals. The condition of slaves was very pathetic. Pathetic means it was very sorry. Pitiable condition, because the slaves were troubled a lot. They used to take lots of work from the slaves during the Egyptian period. So their condition was very sad. It was very pathetic. Okay, I have written the word here, pathetic. P-A-T-H-E-T-I-C. Pathetic. It was very sorry. Pitiable condition. Women were given important status in the society. The people of Egypt believed in life after death. So what they believe? Now even in most of our Puranas also, we do anything happens good, you say that. Okay, even you can see your elderly people at home speaking about the next life. So Egyptian people also believe that there is life after death. The people of Egypt believed in life after death, so they preserved the dead bodies. The preserved dead body was called mummy. Like how you think of the pyramid when you speak about Egypt, the very next interesting part of the Egyptian civilization is the mummy. What is mummy then? Not your mama. Not it. Mummy is the preserved dead body, because they used to feel there is life after death. So what they used to do, they wouldn't bury that, nor they would burn it. The dead bodies were preserved and it was built, so that is called as mummy. Okay. In ancient Egypt, each city had its own guardian goddess. Guardian goddess is Kuladevaru. Nimmane Kuladevaru. So everyone has their particular own god to worship. So even they had one guardian god. Sun and rivers were considered and worshipped as gods. The Egyptian script is known as hieroglyphics. What is it known as? Hieroglyphics. The script from Egypt that is known as hieroglyphics. Hieroglyphics. What is it? It is hieroglyphics. The Egyptian script is known as hieroglyphics, which means sacred writing. Now even you have now some epics. Which are the two important epics of Indian culture? Ramayana and Mahabharata. Bhagavad Gita is there, and in the Muslim community we have the Quran, we have the Bible in Christian community, and even so many other particular philosophical as well as sacred writing is there. So this sacred writing of Egyptian was called as hieroglyphics. They used ink to write on papyrus grass growing in the river Nile. They had enormous knowledge of geometry, which was used in building large pyramids. So you can have a look at the pyramid pictures there. So what is this? They had to have the knowledge of geometry, because it is full of calculation. Now can you build a pyramid keeping one brick after the other? No, it's not possible. You need particular calculation for it. And this was very much with the Egyptian community. So they built beautiful pyramids. The large statue of Sphinx is the most attractive Egyptian architecture. And finally, one more attractive part of the Egyptian culture is the Sphinx. It is a wonderful architecture. The Sphinx is an animal with the body of a lion and the head of a man. That also you can have a look at the picture. So you will come to know what is the Sphinx. Okay. Now about Egyptian culture or civilization, what all things you need to remember? You need to remember that it was the first civilization which was 5,400 years ago. Then the king of the Egyptian people were called as Pharaoh. And the important king of this civilization was Menes, and his capital was Memphis. Got it? Then the wonderful structures of Egyptian civilization was the pyramid, and these pyramids were built by the slaves. Those who were captured by the ruling people there, it was built by the slaves, and their condition was very, very pathetic. That was very sad. Sorry. And one more note here you have to remember is about the Egyptian culture is of mummy. Mummy is nothing but the preserved dead bodies. Okay. And finally, the script of the Egyptian civilization is hieroglyphics. Okay. And finally, the architecture of Egyptian civilization is the Sphinx, which consisted the body of a lion and the head of a man. Got it? So this was all about Egyptian civilization. I hope you have understood. So next session we will move on to in my next class we shall move on to the next civilization, that is about Mesopotamian civilization. Got it? Thank you. Have a nice day.